It's time for exercise number 6, facing your debt. Now, this can be really scary, and it's something that most people don't want to do. Let me tell you a quick story. At an early age in my life, by the time I was 23 years old, I was in over 100 and some $1,000 with the credit card debt. It was like $107,910. And I was so stressed out. I was just very, very, very unhappy. I was at the lowest point in my life. I could honestly see for a very, very brief moment why people committed suicide. Now, I know I would never do that because I know what effect it would have on my family, but I felt like I just wanted to end it because I felt hopeless because of the debt. I'd ruined my credit. I had, debt collectors calling. It was just as worse as you could imagine is what I went through at an early age. One of the things that really changed my life is when I was sitting around one night, and of course I walked around all the time with just massive stress all the time. But one night I was sitting around really late at night, and I think I couldn't sleep because I was stressed out, and I was thinking about debt and everything else. And I was thinking about my life and my poor financial situation that I was in. And a thought occurred to me. What am I so afraid of? In fact, I almost made it a joke to myself. I was like, okay, I'm a loser. I'm in a lot of debt. Well, I wonder how much of a loser I really am. And so I kind of posed a challenge to myself to really see how bad this situation was. I wanted to laugh in the face of how pathetic my life was. Well, when I used to get credit card statements and bills that came in the mail, I had this massive shoebox that I would stuff them in and just push it under my bed. I wouldn't even open it. I wouldn't even look at them. It was kind of like out of sight, out of mind. I didn't want to focus on the debt because I knew I was in debt, and at the moment I didn't have any way to get out of debt. So I felt better, or at least convinced myself to feel better, by hiding from this debt and not even facing it. So that night I said, screw it. I'm just going to open up all these credit card statements. I am going to analyze every single penny of debt that I'm in, and I'm going to see the grand total of how much money I owe and what my real situation is. And so I stayed up till probably 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, set up a little Excel spreadsheet, opened up the latest statements, really figured out to the penny how much debt I was in, and that's how I got to that 107,000 figure. But something kind of magical happened when I did that. I took the number $107,910, I believe it was, and I wrote it on a sheet of paper, and I stuck it on the wall right next to my computer. And I was like, this is the situation. I'm not going to run from it anymore. I'm not going to let it control me. First of all, it's just a bunch of numbers anyways. But that's what the situation was. And from the moment I was able to face the debt and face the music of exactly how much debt I was in, that's the moment I believe my life changed forever. Because once you're able to face your debt, no matter how big or small it may be, or you may not have debt, you may be one of the lucky few, but if you have some debt, by facing it and knowing the exact number, your brain connects with building plans to do away with that number. Now, you're certainly not going to clear up all your debt at once, but it's much easier to kind of take away chunks of that number and make the number smaller and smaller and smaller until it's completely gone by being able to face it and know what it is. So for this exercise, it's simple. Figure out your exact debt total. No matter what your debts are, find out what they are, look at your statements, and tally it up, face it. It's nothing to be afraid of. In fact, it'll feel good once you face it. Take this sheet of paper that you've printed out for this exercise. You'll see that it goes sideways, kind of landscape-wise, and write your debt number, your debt total, as big as you can to fill up the whole piece of paper. Write huge numbers. And then I want you to take that sheet and put it on the wall or somewhere that you'll see it often, where you can't avoid it and you can't run from it. And I want you every day to know that exists and just to know that that's your situation, good or bad. It's nothing to feel bad about. It's nothing to, be afraid of or even be ashamed of or anything like that. It just is what it is. Your life is going to go on. Your life is going to move forward, and hopefully we're going to work with you to get rid of that debt. But the only way to build strategy to accomplish anything is to know what you have to work with. So step 1 is facing the debt and no longer letting it control you and consume you and for you to be afraid of it. So figure out your exact debt, write it really big on that piece of paper, and post that thing on the wall. and know what you have to work with.